In the year 2007, Nokia was a truly massive company. It stood at the very top of the mobile phone world, looking like an unstoppable giant. Almost one in every two mobile phones sold around the entire globe was a Nokia. People everywhere knew and trusted the brand. Nokia seemed completely unbeatable. The company made many different kinds of phones, and people loved them for their simple use and strong build. Nokia was a symbol of great success, a leader that nobody thought could ever be challenged. Its power in the phone business was absolute. However, this picture of total dominance changed very, very quickly. Only a few short years after this period of incredible strength, the company was in ruins. Its valuable mobile phone division, once worth billions, was sold for only a small part of its former value. Nokia, a name once meaning mobile phone to many, had fallen hard. Its time as the top phone maker was over. This sudden and extreme change makes us ask a very important question. How could a company so powerful fall so far and so quickly? What were the secret decisions, the problems inside the company culture, and the big technological shifts that led to this collapse? This story will uncover these hidden factors. It will explore how a global leader faced such a dramatic end. We promise to show you the full mystery of Nokia's surprising downfall, revealing the complex reasons behind one of the most significant company failures in modern history. The first years. The story of Nokia started long ago, in the year 1865. A man named Fredrik Idestam opened a small paper mill in Finland. This country was then under Russian rule. His mill made paper from wood, which was a big business in Finland because of its many forests. A few years later, in 1871, Idestam and his friend Leo Mechelin started a company called Nokia AB. They named it after the town of Nokia, where Idestam had built a second, bigger paper mill. Mechelin became the chairman in 1896. He wanted Nokia to do more than just make paper. By 1902, Nokia also moved into making electricity. This was a smart step. The company learned to make its own power for its paper factories. This early move showed Nokia's ability to try new things and change its business. At the same time, two other important Finnish companies were growing. One was Finnish Rubber Works, started in 1898. This company made many rubber items, like galoshes, rubber boots, and later car tires and bicycle tires. The other was Finnish Cable Works, founded in 1912. This company made important products like telephone and telegraph cables, as well as other electrical cables. Over time, these three separate companies became one. After the First World War, Nokia AB had problems. So Finnish Rubber Works bought Nokia AB in 1922. Then, about 10 years later, Finnish Rubber Works also bought Finnish Cable Works. For many decades, these three businesses operated side by side, but under the same owner. They produced a surprisingly wide range of products. For example, you could find Nokia's name on simple toilet paper, on strong rubber boots, on bicycle tires, on television sets, and on complex communications cables. Finally, in 1967, all three parts formally joined together. They formed one big company called Nokia Corporation. This new company was a very large industrial group. It made everything from paper and rubber products to advanced electronics like televisions, personal computers, and even equipment for the military. This long history showed that Nokia was very good at changing and growing into new markets. It always found new ways to do business and adapt to what people needed. This ability to change was a major reason for its early and long-lasting success. However, this early story also creates a strong contrast with Nokia's future. The company that was so skilled at adapting and reinventing itself for over 100 years would later find it incredibly difficult to change when a big new challenge came. This shows that a past full of successful changes does not guarantee future survival, especially when the world changes very fast. 3. A new idea. By the late 1980s, Nokia was a very big company. It made many different products, from toilet paper to car tires and television sets. The company bought many other businesses quickly, but this also made Nokia less focused. It was trying to do too many things at once. The company faced hard times and was losing money. It was in trouble, trying to manage too many different parts. In 1992, a new leader came to Nokia. His name was Jorma Ollila. He looked at the company and saw a big problem. Nokia was almost bankrupt. It could not keep making so many different things. Ollila had a very new and very brave idea. He decided Nokia would stop making almost everything it made. Ollila chose to sell off all of Nokia's old businesses. This included paper products, rubber goods like boots and tires, and cables. It also meant selling the part of the company that made televisions and other electronics. These businesses were old and had been profitable for a long time, but Ollila wanted to take a huge risk. His plan was to bet Nokia's entire future on just one thing: mobile phones. At that time, mobile phones were a very new industry. Not many people had them. This was a very big gamble. Most people thought it was a crazy idea. Why would Nokia give up its steady money from rubber and paper to focus on something so new and uncertain? Nokia was in a difficult situation. It was very close to losing everything. Ollila's choice was an all-or-nothing decision. If his idea was right, Nokia could become a very important company in the world. It could grow very big and connect people everywhere. But if he was wrong, Nokia would likely disappear forever. The company's entire future was now resting on this single, daring idea. It was a time of great stress and hope for Nokia and its workers. This was not just a small change. It was a complete revolution for Nokia. Ollila believed that mobile telecommunications, or talking on phones without wires, was the future. He saw that the world would soon need many more of these devices. But it was still a very new market, and nobody knew for sure if it would succeed on a large scale. Nokia put all its eggs in one basket. The risk was enormous, but so was the potential reward. Everyone at Nokia felt the tension. Their jobs, their company, and a part of Finland's economy depended on this one bold move. The coming years would show if Ollila's vision was a stroke of genius or a terrible mistake. 4. The best in the world. Jorma Ollila's bold decision paid off wonderfully. From the mid-1990s through the mid-2000s, Nokia entered its golden age. The company quickly became the world's biggest mobile phone maker in 1998, a position it held for over 10 years. Its phones were everywhere, truly connecting people across the globe.
Nokia's success came from several important things.
First, their hardware was famously strong and reliable. People knew a Nokia phone would last. Second, the software was simple and easy for anyone to use. Nokia also partnered with Symbian, an operating system that made its phones very capable, giving them features other companies struggled to match. Third, Nokia was brilliant at making phones for everyone, from basic models that cost little money to advanced ones packed with new features. The company understood that mobile phones were becoming personal items, like clothes or accessories. Nokia offered X-Press-On covers, which were colorful, changeable phone cases. This allowed users to make their phone truly their own. Nokia also used smart marketing, especially for younger people. Their campaigns connected with youth culture around the world, making the brand cool and desirable. The Nokia tune, the company's famous ringtone, was heard everywhere. Millions recognized it instantly. And the simple game Snake 2 became a global craze. People spent hours playing this game on their Nokia phones, making mobile gaming popular for the first time. It created a shared experience for users across many countries. The Nokia 3310, launched in 2000, was a key example of this success. This phone had a simple black and white screen, easy-to-press buttons, and a battery that could last for a whole week. Nokia sold an amazing 126 million units.
The 3310 was famous for its functions and its legendary durability. People joked that dropping it would break the ground, not the phone, because it was so strong. This phone created lasting memories and loyalty for many as their first mobile device. By 2007, Nokia was at the very top. The company controlled almost 50% of the global mobile phone market. It was a huge source of pride for Finland and a powerful business worldwide. Inside Nokia, there was a strong sense of confidence. Everyone believed the company was unstoppable. This was Nokia's highest point, truly the best in the world. However, a new device was about to be shown, one that would soon challenge everything. 5. A big problem. In the year 2007, Nokia was very strong. The company was #1 in the world for mobile phones. Its Symbian software was used on 70% of all smartphones. Nokia sold more than 110 million phones with Symbian that year. This was more than Apple and Google sold together. Nokia felt sure of its success and thought it could not be beaten. But in June 2007, something new arrived. Apple launched its first iPhone. At first, Nokia's leaders were not worried. They looked at the iPhone and thought it was not a big threat. The iPhone was quite expensive. It did not have a keyboard with real buttons, which Nokia thought was important.
Also, in its first year, the iPhone sold only a small number of phones, just 5% of the market. Nokia's leaders believed people cared most about a phone's features. They thought technical details like a good camera or a long battery life were more important than how easy the phone was to use. Nokia phones often had better cameras and longer battery life than the first iPhone, so the company continued to sell phones based on their technical power. But Nokia's leaders did not understand the big change that was happening. The iPhone was not just another phone, it was a new idea. Apple made the phone into a small computer that fit in your pocket. It had a new kind of screen you touched with your finger, not buttons. It also had a new way to get many small programs called apps. Soon after, Google also made its own phone software called Android, which other companies could use. The world was changing from phones with buttons to phones with touchscreens and apps. Nokia tried to make its own phone to fight the iPhone. In 2008, Nokia launched the N97. People called it Nokia's iPhone killer. This phone had a keyboard and a good camera. On paper, its technical details looked strong, but the software experience was bad. Symbian, Nokia's old software, was made for phones with buttons. It did not work well with a touchscreen. The phone was slow and its menu felt old. There were not many apps for it, and making new apps was hard. People did not care about the technical details. They cared about how easy and fun the phone was to use. The N97 did not sell well. It was a big failure. Inside Nokia, problems grew bigger. The company became slow. It took too long to make decisions. Different teams inside Nokia did not work well together. Engineers had many new ideas for improving Symbian software, but the company's leaders often said no to these ideas. Nokia knew there was a problem, but it seemed unable to act fast enough. The company was stuck, and it did not see that the fight was no longer about phone hardware, but about the whole system of software and apps. 6. A dangerous choice. Nokia was in a very bad situation. After the iPhone came out, Nokia struggled to sell enough phones. The company needed a big change. In September 2010, Nokia made an important decision. They hired a new CEO, Stephen Elop. He was Canadian, not Finnish, and he came from Microsoft. This was a new step for Nokia, which had always had Finnish leaders. In February 2011, Elop wrote a letter to everyone who worked at Nokia. This letter became famous as the Burning Platform Memo. In the letter, Elop said Nokia was like a man standing on a burning oil platform in the middle of a cold sea. The platform was on fire, and the man had only two choices: stay on the platform and burn, or jump into the freezing water, hoping to swim to safety.
Elop explained that Nokia's own software, called Symbian, was the burning platform. It was old and could not compete with new systems like Apple's iOS or Google's Android. Jumping into the cold water meant Nokia had to abandon its old ways. It had to choose a new path and partner with another company's software. Elop told the employees that Nokia was losing the smartphone race very quickly. This was a major moment for Nokia. The company had to decide its future. Should they try to fix their own software, Symbian and MeeGo, which were taking a long time to develop, or should they join a bigger team? Many other phone companies were choosing Android. Android was becoming very popular, and many apps were made for it. It seemed like a safe choice. But Stephen Elop made a different, very dangerous choice. He announced that Nokia would not use Android. Instead, Nokia would work only with Microsoft and use Microsoft's Windows Phone software. Elop believed that if Nokia chose Android, it would just be one more company making Android phones, like Samsung. He wanted Nokia to be special, a third option besides Apple and Android. So Nokia left its own software and made a big bet on Windows Phone. The deal with Microsoft was made quickly. This was Nokia's final big decision. Many people wondered if this risky choice would save the company or lead to its final failure. The future of Nokia, once the biggest phone company in the world, now depended on this one dangerous partnership.
The end of the phones. The partnership with Microsoft was a big mistake for Nokia. Many people hoped it would save the company, but it did not. Nokia had chosen Windows Phone as its main operating system. However, consumers did not want these phones. Windows Phone failed to attract new users. Its App Store was very small compared to Apple's iOS and Google's Android. Popular apps that people used every day were missing, and developers did not create many new ones for Windows Phone. Because of this lack of interest, Nokia's phone sales fell very fast. Between the third quarter of 2010 and the third quarter of 2011, Nokia's smartphone sales dropped by 34%. This meant sales went from 27 million phones to just 17 million. The next year, after Nokia released its first Windows phones, the decline was even worse. Smartphone sales collapsed by more than half to only 6 million units. Nokia's share of the global smartphone market also dropped sharply. When Stephen Elop became CEO, it was 35%. By 2013, it was only 3%. Nokia was in a desperate situation. The company was losing a lot of money, and its value in the stock market crashed. Its market capitalization fell from over $40 billion to less than $15 billion. The human cost was enormous. More than 40,000 Nokia employees lost their jobs.
The Finnish government refused to give the company emergency money. Shareholders were losing patience and trust. In September 2013, Microsoft announced a deal to buy Nokia's mobile phone business. The price was 5.4 billion euros, which was about $7.2 billion. This was a shockingly low price. It was barely more than Nokia had paid for a map service called Navteq just 6 years earlier. This showed how much value the mobile phone division had lost. Stephen Elop, Nokia's CEO, returned to work for Microsoft as head of its devices group. He received a bonus package of 18 million euros. The Prime Minister of Finland called this bonus outrageous. Some people believed Elop was a Trojan horse, an agent sent by Microsoft to weaken Nokia so it could be bought cheaply. However, several books that looked into Nokia's collapse concluded that Elop's decisions, though disastrous, were made with the company's best interest at heart, not as part of a secret plan. For Finland, the sale was a deep tragedy. Thousands of Finnish workers lost their jobs, and many families were affected. Nokia was more than just a company. It was a national icon, a symbol of Finnish skill and success around the world. To see its mobile phone business sold for such a low price and to an American company felt like a betrayal and the loss of a beloved part of their country's identity. This marks the end of Nokia as a major player in making phones.
What we can learn. Nokia's story teaches us many important lessons. One big lesson is that being very successful can sometimes make a company slow to change. When a company is at the top, like Nokia was, it might believe its way is always the best way. This can stop it from seeing new ideas or new dangers. Nokia did not see how much the world was changing when the iPhone came out. They thought their old phones were still good enough, even when people wanted touchscreens and more apps. Another lesson is about how a big company works. Inside Nokia, it became hard to make quick decisions. There were too many rules, and different groups inside the company did not always work well together. This meant that good ideas for new phones or software were sometimes ignored or took too long to become real products. Nokia's story also shows us the danger of choosing the wrong path. When they decided to work only with Microsoft's Windows Phone, they made a big mistake. This choice meant they did not join the popular Android world, which was growing very fast. But Nokia's story did not end with the sale of its phone business.
The part of the company that built network equipment, like the towers and systems that connect our mobile phones and the internet, kept going. This part of Nokia became very strong and grew, becoming a global leader in new technologies like 5G and 6G networks. These networks are the very important backbone of how we all communicate today. Also, the Nokia name came back on new phones. A company called HMD Global started making Android phones with the Nokia brand. These new phones try to bring back the old Nokia ideas of good design and strong quality. They even released a new version of the famous 3310 phone, reminding people of Nokia's past. So, Nokia shows us that a company can change many times, from making paper a long time ago to making rubber boots, then mobile phones, and now building the infrastructure for the world's internet. Nokia has always found a way to survive and find a new purpose. This story tells us about changing, failing, and changing again. It teaches us about being strong even after big problems. What part of Nokia's long journey do you find most interesting, and why?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.